Run up. Dear! Good ball for Roberto Carlos. Hooked into the penalty area towards Zidane.
Nani.
Rooney! Oh, wonderful! Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero!
Hello, good evening. First of all, I apologise to Sean, who just told me he didn't like my music. Sorry, Sean. I'll find another tune. I'll make sure it's better next time. Guys and girls, there's 160 of you in here. You know the rules. Smash the like button on your way in. If you're new around here, smash the like button. If you're old around here, smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Subscribe to me, subscribe to Sean, and I don't believe the other two have YouTube channels as of this second. I might be wrong. Brains, am I wrong?
Yeah, I got YouTube just at Brains McLeod, but it's nothing to do with Spurs. It's just music. So it's youtube.com/Brains McLeod. But it's just
mate, at the moment, people would probably rather subscribe to them than they would anything to do with Tottenham Hotspur. So you might be in. Listen, welcome to
the I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely. So welcome to Spurs Review. Today we've got Pete, who hasn't been on for a while. Pete, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. Just been reading about how Mbappe won't be joining us, though. So, I know. I was hoping to announce it tonight. And of course, we have got Sean from Spurs Talk Show. Sean, how you feeling? You good?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, getting over flu. So, but yeah, good. Generally
good. Tonight's going to be like a massive moan, I think. I mean, like, I'd love to be sitting here, guys, with what, 17, 18 days of the season to go, talking about how excited we all are for the start of the season. But I'm just going to go through a few things that have happened for Tottenham in the last 48 hours. And my new quote for Spurs, which someone said I should use as my channel headline, was, "It's all happening at Spurs whilst nothing's happening at Spurs," right? And I feel like that sums up Tottenham Hotspur every single window. Reports coming out in the last hour that Japhet Tanganga's off to Besiktas on a loan. Reports that saying that we're not getting Kylian Mbappe, so apologies if that's the first time anyone's hearing that bad news. Reports that Davinson Sanchez is set to turn down Spartak Moscow. There's been quotes today from Postecoglou about Ben Davies being exactly the type of left back that he needs and wants for his system, which hasn't gone down well in all quarters. Reports from Germany, the Bayern Munich president saying again that Bayern Munich only signs stars and there's not many in the Bundesliga and Harry Kane would be that guy. Let me start with you, Brains. Where are you at with Tottenham at the moment? We've got 17, 18 days to go of the season till the season starts. 45 minutes in their legs. Games being cancelled. They're flying all around the world. Seems like we're doing more press junkets, visiting hospitals, press releases than we are actually training. New manager, new philosophy. Talk to me. What's going on at Tottenham?
Yeah, it's like, we've got the worst defense in the Premier League, and we're going to attempt a style of football which is the riskiest way to go for your defense, and we have no centre backs at the club who can handle that way of playing. So we don't know what's happening with our key player. We don't know who's coming in, who's going out. It's taken all this time. We're like there's teams. All our rivals are playing comparable styles of football over in the States against each other, sharpening their tools, ironing out their frailties, and we are in the middle of a monsoon, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't. You wake up every morning as a Spurs fan, just going like, there's gonna be no good news today. It's hard to remain positive on it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, Pete, moving on from that, I mean, Brains actually messaged me earlier and said, all this talk that we're playing progressive football and, Spurs are looking different. When you actually watch all these games that all the other teams are on in this American mini series that's going on, everyone now seems to be adopting this way of playing, this kind of pressing, high energy. But they all seem to be doing it against really good opposition right now, with their best players getting loads of minutes in the legs. Is this a concern for you that we have only played 45 minutes and we're one of the only clubs that's got a new manager to implement a new philosophy?
Massively. We're so far behind. I mean, it wouldn't be Spurs, would it, otherwise? It's just, I mean, you couldn't make it up, but we've seen these sort of pre-seasons before. It's just a mess. It's like everything at the club. And then we got a real hard test against the Lion City Sailors coming up.
Yeah.
If it even goes ahead. Honest, I think them Wallabies that I saw players chasing around will probably give us a better game than these lot. So you're just like, what is the point? We are so far behind in our prep. And then we've got the Kane stuff in the background, all that going on. No centre-backs coming in. I feel sorry for Roger probably, to be honest. The rug being pulled out from him.
Yeah.
He's getting off to a real poor start, I think, otherwise, unless something drastically changes, and it won't be his fault.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, listen, you're normally someone who tries to find the positive, and, you're sometimes the yin to my yang. I can't remember how Brains summed it up earlier. What did you say about Sean earlier?
I just said we're gonna need him to be his contrarian best here if we're gonna get some sort of diverse opinion.
That's it. I mean, Sean, can you give myself and the 365 people that are in here, by the way, that haven't smashed the like button, can you give us all something positive, like what something right now that we can go, hang on, that's good. This is what we're really looking forward to.
Well, you're suffering from flu.
Yeah, I think that we got another night. We got, hopefully the weather stays away. We've got 90 minutes of football. Is it going to be? Can we learn anything from it? Absolutely not. I've looked at the transfer market valuations of the two players. Of the entire team over there. You've got one guy called Diego Lopez, who I think is worth €1 million. The next guy down in their best players is like 700k, and after that it's like 50ks and 60ks galore. So it's the equivalent of playing like a League Two, or if maybe even a non-league outfit. So in terms of what we can learn, nothing. In terms of minutes in the legs, fine. But look, ultimately, mate. Ultimately, it's difficult for me to find positives from this preseason tour. I understand the need to go and like show your face to different areas of the world, like try and keep the brand going, find some new players and stuff. And I don't necessarily blame the club for not planning in the scenario of a monsoon. Liverpool and Manchester United went and played in exactly the same place in Thailand at exactly the same time 12 months ago, and there was no bad weather. So like, it's bad luck to a degree, right? However, at the end of the day, I take Brain's point. When you look at the other teams that are playing against each other in a little round robin in New Jersey and Philadelphia on the East Coast, less distance to travel, more opportunity to get higher. I mean, I'm surprised Tottenham didn't go to America, considering that's where all of our brand efforts are going with regards to the NFL and stuff. So it's difficult for me to play contrarian on this particular topic. I'm sure I'll find 3 or 4 other ways to be an argumentative arse as the show goes on. But for now, I'm in agreement with you that the preseason is a bit of a mess. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brains, before we get to talking about players, incomings and outgoings, of which so far I think it's literally been Winks as an outgoing, are you surprised that Spurs have sent everyone round the world? Literally, like, we've flown to Australia, 1 game. The plan was to then fly to Thailand, 1 game. Fly to Singapore, 1 game. Back to London, 1 game. Fly to Barcelona, 1 game. Fly back to London. Are you surprised that in this time, and as Sean was saying on a show we're on last night, just for that one summer where you've got to bed in a philosophy, you've got a new manager, shouldn't we have been in London just knuckling down and playing football?
Yeah, it's like I get the concept of this kind of Asia Pac like traveling together, but like even the logistics of it, they're not all small flights either. They're not all like there's just a hell of a lot of picking up, moving, going to the next place, trying to reset there. You know, like there was apparently I saw some statistics about like at this time of year there was like a 50% chance, or it was like 50+% chance of monsoons happening. So it was like, at least then look for stadiums with roofs. At least have a contingency plan of, if it doesn't work here, we can do this.
Right.
The bottom line is there's not a single soul at this club that can neither multitask or just make a simple, like non-erratic, sensible decision. Yeah, keep them in Britain, have them go to Wales, have them go to Scotland. Just keep it here.
Just do 3 or 4 local games, mate. You can play Leyton Orient, like Barnet, Southend. You could almost play 3 of those games in a day. You could nip around the east side of London.
Why couldn't we play? You could got QPR, you've got Millwall, you could be playing West Ham. You could. Do you know what I mean? There's so many Brentford. It just makes me laugh that we've sent everyone all around the world, and it feels like whenever I see something about Spurs, it's like I'm sure there isn't, but it's like there's only been like 2 training sessions or something. It's like everything else is.
It's just the double hammer, mate. The double hammer of losing out on Leicester because of the weather, and also losing out on Roma, and then then swapping Roma for a pub team like that. That essentially leaves us with, and then you're not going to be able to play both like the same squad for Barcelona and for Shakhtar because there's only 48 hours in between. So we're a game down on everybody else, maybe 2 games down on everybody else. Plus, we've only had 1 competitive game against West Ham, and that was the first game, which is the least important. The first game's about fitness. The last game's about the kind of the tinkering or whatever. And yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. It's not great, is it? I mean, look, what I don't understand as well is the games that have been set up. Like the moment Roma dropped out, wouldn't you have dropped out? Like if you were Spurs, wouldn't you have dropped out and tried to do something locally? Because every night at the moment, I'm really enjoying, by the way, some of these games in the mini series. I thought Brighton Chelsea was an excellent game. Newcastle Villa was. I enjoyed Arsenal Man United, not just because Arsenal lost. I enjoyed that. And Man U, we said it last night, Sean. Man U looked sharp. Man U looked like they were fit, sharp, ready to go.
They look really good, actually. They look really, really good. And Arsenal looked absolutely like well off the pace.
Yeah, they did look well off the pace. But I mean, Pete, I'll bring you in here. Welcome back. It's just absolutely madness that by the time the season starts, we're going to have played West Ham's B team. Now, Spurs can't help that it's West Ham's B team, but we've gone all the way to Australia to play a club that are about probably 8-9 miles away from White Hart Lane. I'll always call it that, right? We're then going to play tomorrow the Lion City Sailors. When we smash them 7 or 8-0, if we do, people will start getting really excited. Then we're going to go and play, as Sean said, Shakhtar and Barca in the space of 48 hours. So it's not going to be the same team. What is this preseason going to have? What are we going to have gained from it? What's the purpose of this preseason going to have been?
Money. Isn't it? That's all it is. Because it's a lot of fun. You do a bit of travelling, and I get the whole thing where these fans don't get to see this team apart from this time of year. I get that, but then I think you've got to be a bit more sensible by it than turning the team into basically Phileas Fogg and going all around the world in like 4 days. You know what I mean? No need to be doing that. 4 different countries and all this sort of stuff.
Tottenham Fogspur. Is that what you're saying?
Jesus Christ! So you just think, why would you do that? Especially given the manager, he needs to be settling down, not keep being on planes flying around the gaff. He needs to be on the training pitch. You know what I mean? So new managers, different if it's a settled team and then the manager's been there for a couple of years and all that. Then you sort of pencil these sort of tours in. I mean, I get it. This would have been penciled in long before Postecoglou got the job. But as you said, when Roma dropped out, you got to go, okay, well, let's be a bit more sensible and let's think about the football side. But as usual, that comes secondary to anything else, to the Pan side.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? Look, let's move on from that because it will just frustrate me. It really, really will frustrate me this pre-season.
Can we talk about an opportunity that's just emerged? I'm seeing on Twitter that Locatelli is available for £24 million, 24 million euros. Like this guy, passing master class with the ability to tackle. You're looking for a cheap six. You're looking to sell Højbjerg to Atletico. You go and knock on Juve's door right now and go and buy Manuel Locatelli. Thank you very much. Go and get it done. That guy would be, he's not the perfect six, but he is a really good, really good player for that role that we need. And we've got the relationship with Juve.
Paratici to broker the deal.
We got the relationship. We got the relationship with Juve. It's the only club we can go to where they do answer the phone.
Sean, can I be honest? I don't want him.
Really?
I don't want any good player that wants to come to Tottenham now. I worry about them. I worry what their motive is. Why are they joining us? I mean, no.
I didn't say he wants to come to Tottenham. I'm just.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Listen, Sean. On a serious note, these are the sort of opportunities that other clubs go and snap these players up. Yeah. I'm seeing all these. Let's move on to players, guys. I'm seeing all these players being picked up by clubs all around Europe, where you go, "Oh, that would have been a good little addition." Yeah. Like 17 million euros, 14 million euros, 20 million euros loans. And then I look at us and it's like another week where we might go back in for talks. And I'll start this off by saying this, right? So this is so Last Word on Spurs put this up earlier, and it was from the director of sport at Bayer Leverkusen, Simon Ralph, said he rejects the potential sale of Tottenham Hotspur transfer target Edmund Tapsoba. He's put, no, not under normal circumstances. It is clear that at some point there are always limits, but Edmund is a very important player. He is one of the top players of our team without question. He still has a long contract. Therefore, there is no reason for us to think about handing him over. Now, do we read into that's pay the money you get him? We want a lot of money, or hands off, he's not available at any price?
Yeah, I think that's a case of if the negotiations with the club had gone well, there wouldn't be stuff like that. You know, it's quite clear they have what they value him for, and Levy's just going to lowball them. Spurs are just going to kind of keep dancing around the fact is like, we need that player, you know. And they're just saying like, well, they're doing what Levy does. It's like, well, he costs this. This is his value. If you want him, you know, make us an offer that makes sense. Yeah, it's not going to be below his value. It's just not. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Pete. Obviously, the WhatsApp group me and you are in. I obviously know how you feel over the years. I think I know your answer to whatever I put in a chat. I feel like I know what Pete's going to say. At any point, did you think the Tapsoba deal was on?
No.
Oh. Dare I ask why? And do you still think it's not on?
Yeah, no, because you just know what he's going to cost, and then it just rules it out. You just think we're not going to do it, and it's too sensible. It's just link after link and negotiation. I would probably never even bother because we just do not pay the money. That's what that man's saying. Is that you had a chance, you pissed me off, so I'm not interested anymore. You got told a price, you didn't want to pay it, and you're trying to lowball all the time. I'm not having it anymore, so I don't need to sell it. They just sold a player, haven't they, for 50 million euros or whatever? Yeah. They're not in. So he's like, well, why do we need to do it? And the player obviously hasn't jumped up and down saying, I'm desperate to go over there. Yeah, I'm desperate to partner Romero. So that's why you just look at it and go, it was never going to happen. Even Van der Ven, I mean, that's looking less likely by the day. I think I thought that was a more likely of the two. Because Tapsoba was too good, and you think it just makes too much sense for us to go and do that. If we're that desperate, we'd have done it already.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, are you at one point? I think me and you were both like, "Hang on, all the noise is coming out. We're getting both. We're having a party. This is great. Let's hire out a pub and give everyone free drink." 2 small weeks later, how are you feeling in regards to both we'll move on from these two in a second, but both the Tapsoba and Van der Ven likelihood?
I don't know, mate. I don't get it. I don't understand how Tottenham are so slow this window. We are so slow with everything. Chelsea, I'm not expecting us to act like Chelsea, okay? Because Chelsea seem to Like, you know, this idea when Tottenham fans or any fan of any club just sits there and says, oh, see, it's easy. Like, sell this guy or buy this 20 million plus these 2 players, blah, 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 blah. But everyone's playing Football Manager. Todd Bowley and his team are acting like they are playing Football Manager or FIFA. Yeah. Like they're like 19 players in, 140 players out. Like it's a revolving door policy. I think it's got its own consequences that are not necessarily all positive, because I think you do need to have some continuity with your playing system and your squad and let everyone gel and build relationships and chemistry. But there's an area in between Tottenham and Chelsea that is where we should be acting. To only have got Harry Winks out of the door right now is madness. And the fact that we can't even get a centre-back in, and there's 2.5 weeks until the season, is crazy. It's not like the rest of the market isn't all inflated. Daniel Levy, if he wants 100 million or 120 million for Harry Kane, why does he think it's unreasonable for other clubs to want good money for their players? He always does this, where he overinflates his own valuation of his own assets, but never recognizes the value of other people's. Value is in the eye of the beholder, and we need centre-backs so much, and there's not that many great centre-backs out there. It's not the same. Like the central midfield conversation, there's dozens of centre midfielders that you can get, but centre-backs are few and far between that are of a high enough level, and to not have either of them done is a joke by now. And to answer your question directly, do I think that they're both likely or one of them's likely? I don't know. You lose faith every day. Like, what could, like, are the conversation, is it on ice because we're on tour? Has Daniel Levy basically said, don't worry, we'll get round to it after we finish playing the pub team in Singapore. We'll pick up where we left off in a few days' time. It's madness. I'm very frustrated as a Tottenham fan. And at the moment, I still think we'll get one of them in, but I don't think we'll get both anymore. For me, it's probably one plus Tosin. Although, at the same time, I don't even know if Fulham necessarily want to sell Tosin now, because Palini has now gone and broken his shoulder, and he now needs to have surgery there. So they're not going to be able to sell him for the 70 million that they probably were thinking they were going to get in. So are they really going to now sell Tosin for a reasonable price? Probably not. They're decimating their squad as it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. Yeah, long story short, it's I don't know. I'm less and less confident by the day that we're going to get these deals done, and I don't know where we're going to pivot if we don't.
Do you know what? Listen, you make some good points there. I mean, Brains, listen, as tongue-in-cheek as Sean was there about Chelsea playing Football Manager, do you know what? And yeah, there's some consequences maybe further down the line for them. If you're a Chelsea fan, it must be quite fun, though. Out with the old, in with the new, seeing new players, waking up to news all the time. Most of the, some of those players are there already playing with Chelsea, playing in these preseason games. I know we can't do a Chelsea. I'm not suggesting that, Brains. I'm not suggesting we go and bid 95 million for Caicedo, but to see Harry Winks as the only out and the only ins are a bloke who got relegated and had 1 year left, a goalkeeper who was 17 million. I'm not knocking the goalkeeper, but that's why we got the deal done, 17 million. And Solomon, who was the victim of playing in a league where there's a war, right? 1 out, 3 in. It's just absolutely shocking off the back of what was our worst season for, I don't know, how many years was that our worst season for, guys? When was the last time we were out the top 7?
15 years ago.
Right. So our worst ever defensive performance in the Premier League, our worst season for 15 years. And this is what we're getting in return.
Yeah, I mean, anyone would think that you're negative about Spurs. Don't
worry, I get told all the time. Just be patient. It's all right. Window's not shut yet. Just be patient, Savva.
Yeah, and it's hard to expect anything different because you see it every window. It's just
right.
It's hard to train your brain any different. But like, we're always going to go for the cheapest deal. We're always and one of the worst things about the way we do deals and the way that has to happen at this club is that we try to lowball. We try to give less money in the contracts, but players have lawyers and agents, and they're going to get theirs somehow of a contract, right? And a lot of the time with players at Spurs, it's size and it's points and break clauses, and it leaves us in a situation where a player can just go, no, I'm not going. and then they stick around. And so the players end up feeling comfortable with the situation. They got this beautiful stadium, beautiful, training ground, and it's just all lolly. It's just all too luxurious for a team that hasn't proven anything, for players who have not proven themselves. So then it's just hard as hell to get them out, because why? Why do we need to go? Like, I don't need to go to Russia. Like, so you can see their point, It's like,
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, the reports on him, Brains, are that he doesn't see the need to leave, and he's happy to run down one more year of his contract. Like this baffles me from a sporting perspective, that he doesn't want to go. But again, I blame Tottenham. This guy should have been out the door years ago. This guy, after 2 years, when we realised he didn't work, most clubs would have gone, hang on, let's get him out. Look at Koulibaly at Chelsea. Yeah. Koulibaly came in, hasn't worked out. I know it didn't work out for many of their players last year. It hasn't worked out. See you later. Go on. Let's bring it up.
If you're not willing to behave like a big club, and like the way I play football and run my team and stuff, like I love people and I love friends, but on a pitch and in training and picking teams, it's like, if this guy's not playing, you're gone, and it's hard, it's like, but this is again, it goes to that thing where, if you have the transfer policy you have, and you do business the way you do, and you lowball people and you try to get the cheapest deal, you're going to get screwed somewhere in the line where the deal's going to be of such length to get the player, and the player's going to have all these rights, and eventually you're going to have all these players and be in the situation we're in now, where we can't get anyone out the door. If you look at it, it's like, we're not a serious club. We don't just tear up contracts, like Tanganga, not Tanganga, Ndombele should have never got a foot back in. Some romantic fans online make some highlights of the few seconds in games over a little period of time, and then everyone's like, bring him home, and then he's back. It's insane.
There's no consequences, Brains. There's no consequences to this club. You can play as badly as you want. And talking about no consequences, I mean, Pete, just before I come to you, actually, by the way, guys and girls, there's 633 of you in here. Smash that like button. With 633 people, we should not be on 160 likes. If I'm right, that's just over a quarter. Smash that like button. Anyone who hasn't subscribed, please do, as we chase down the 8,000. We're just over 275 away from that now. Subscribe to Sean. And please show some love, people. Show some love. And don't call me bipolar. It's not very nice. Just saying. I won't take it to heart. But Pete, talking about players, right, that that have been here for a while and no consequences. I see that Eric Dyer's been rolled out today, doing his Sky Sports interview, doing his interview on the Spurs website, that it's a happy place to be. It's that we're going to see a different Spurs. We're really looking forward to playing under Ange. Eat, sleep, repeat for the last 5, 6, 7 managers that Eric Dyer's played for. This is just going to keep rolling on here, Pete.
As you say, it's rinse and repeat, the same shit. The only person you ain't hearing from is Harry Kane, funny enough. We will see a different Tottenham, one without Kane, and you'll see what it's going to be like. Yeah, and I'm not looking forward to seeing that, regardless of who the manager is. But it's just depressing, isn't it? I mean, look at what Villa have done. Unai Emery's gone job halfway through the season. He's already got a talented squad, and then he's got 3 really good players in the door. Live at Villa, pay the money. Forget about being like Chelsea. I'd settle for being like Villa at the moment. Just they went, what do you want? That's what you want. That's what you're going to get. Pay the money, job done, player in. The club at the moment is like it was before. It's just drifting. Like, it's like, well, where's it going? No one knows. We don't hear nothing. We've not heard. We've not even been told officially about Scott Munn. What's happening with that? It's just what is going on, and just there's no leadership at this club on the pitch or off it. It's an absolute joke. I've seen it worse, but you think someone's got to get the ball by the horns here, and I just feel sorry for the manager because he's got all this shit going on. I felt sorry for Nuno when this going on with Kane, because it's like the person who's going to have the deal with it the most has the least influence over it, because whatever's going to be, he's going to be told what's happening or what's going to happen. He ain't going to have any influence in the decision whatsoever. Yeah, he's got to be the one who's got to pick up the pieces, and you just know that sale is coming at the end of the window, and it'll be like, oh, we couldn't get time to do that. There wasn't enough time to spend the money, and we end up left with like Richarlison for the rest of the for the window. I mean, for the season, which is frightens the life out of me. And I keep seeing this geezer coming up saying we spent 136 million, and that's a load of crap because just because we haven't signed 5 players, we made we made 2 loans permanent basically.
Right,
and the money that should have been spent on them in there just been moved from 1 month to another month to this month. So that's the same. That's just money moving around. Yeah. Otherwise, you're saying the same people saying we spent 40 million on Porro in January. But actually, no, we did it then. We only spent 7 million. So it's just moved money around. So you can't count that towards this summer. It might be spent this summer, but it's just been moved. So don't come up with that crap.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, this is similar to last year, right? When fans started including Romero's fee in. We're now doing it with Porro and Kulusevski as, oh, look, we've got 5 through the door. 2 of them were already here last year. You know what I mean? It's and I think I just want to clarify, look, when Sean and I, for example, speak about Chelsea, we're not saying Spurs should act like Chelsea, by the way. We're not saying that at all.
No, definitely not.
But there's a halfway house, right? There's a halfway house where by now, Tottenham Hotspur, for me, I don't know what you think, Sean, for me, that whole squad shouldn't be out, I don't know where they are, somewhere in that part of the world now, right? All of those players shouldn't be there. Some of them, Singapore right now, right? Some of those players by now should be at Hotspur Way, having their thank you very much, thanks for everything you've done for the club, contract ripped up, or we've got no intention of keeping you next season. See you later. You're going for 5 million, whatever. But again, all of these players have gone. All of our young players stuck at home, the likes of Sayers, Dorrington, all stuck at home. I just can't understand anything about what we've done. I'm so baffled.
It's too big of a tour, too big of a... Like when you're going away for 2.5 weeks, but you're spending 9 days of that on planes and coming to and from airports and getting over jet lag, and then you have a breaking in training session because you're exhausted. You've been on, and by the way, that plane, like that didn't even look like premium economy seats. Like I would, if I was me personally, and I was told you're going to get on the plane and go to Perth, I'd have gone on that plane. No, thanks, mate. I'd rather fly British Airways first class and have a kip. Like those seats didn't even recline properly. Like to me, I feel like, and that's suggesting that you have the money to pay it, which these footballers do. To me, I think the whole thing's a disaster. And genuinely, I completely agree with everyone when they're saying about the money shouldn't roll over. It doesn't count. When I talk about Chelsea, my frustration is that it's eye-opening when you look at Chelsea and see that and remember that their revenue is less. Like it's basically irrelevant difference, but it's essentially slightly less than Tottenham's. Right? They can go out and drop all that money. They've got the best accountants in the world that can figure out ways to amortize contracts and break it down over 9 years, 8 years here. And of course, the Saudi Arabian things come along and the blessing, the gift that keeps on giving to certain clubs. I get it. But ultimately, it shows that if you're a club that earns as much money as that Tottenham do, there's an availability, a wiggle room to spend far more than we do, far more than we have.
Yeah.
And Chelsea have taken massive losses in the short term. They went and bought Koulibaly, spent a lot of money on him. They haven't just sold the players that they didn't need anymore from 2-3 years ago. They've sold players that they bought and they now figure out they don't want from 12 months ago. So Tottenham have a chairman that I realise now, or I'm seeing it now because of the FFP pivot. I acknowledge now that Daniel Levy is demonstrating his inability to change the leopard doesn't change its spots with him. And I feel like when you look at Chelsea spending the money they're doing, Arsenal spending the money, taking the risk that they're taking they have 10-15% less revenue than Tottenham. Newcastle have got far less. Aston Villa have got 28% of the revenue that Tottenham have, yet they're all spending more money than we are, taking more risks, rolling more dices. I think it just shows that the risk tolerance of Daniel Levy is woefully inept for what we need at this stage of this rebuild. Thank you for what you've done. I'll always say, historically, I think you did a good job taking us from where we were to where we are, but you are so far behind the 8 ball right now, bro, that it's clear for everyone to see.
Yeah, I mean, Brains, look, the key thing for me is never say never, in the next couple of weeks, we could go and get a couple of really good signings. But what's worrying about this is lots of the reports you hear are that, well, we can't get more in until players go out. But at the moment, what have we got happening going out-wise? Like, literally, in this day and age, you hear about everything. Literally, all we've got that's a guarantee is that we have accepted a fee of 12.9 million euros from Spartak Moscow. Everyone else, I see either our fans want to keep them, oh, Lo Celso, oh, and Dombele, oh, Roden, give this guy a chance, and this guy's coming back in. And I don't know how we ever evolve. The club want to keep the players year in, year out. The fans want to give every player a chance year in, year out. I feel like we're stuck in some sort of real weird... It's like, it's literally like, everyone remember how you feel right now, right? Everyone in the chat, 666 of you, the old 666. It's a great number to be doing this on, right? All remember how you feel right now. Remember this time next year when the exact same thing is happening with these owners and people are acting surprised, like, I can't believe this is happening again. I can't. Yeah. This is what we do, brains. This is us in a window, isn't it?
Yeah, I just don't understand for the life of me. When they said they were going to take all the players, it was just like, but there's no way some of those players are going to be playing here. Surely, it's like, even if you're, surely you had to get somebody. It was too bloated a squad. So just like mathematically, there had to be a few outgoings.
Yeah.
Why would you not have the manager say to Sanchez or Rodin or certain players, look, loads of respect, but you don't fit the style of play that it's no disrespect. So please deal with your agents, get the ball rolling. You guys stay here. Instead, you're taking all these players out. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. I would have much rather seen Alfie and Max Robson and young players who are actually genuine talents go out there, and the experience, and working, maybe the last chance to work with Harry Kane, it doesn't make any sense for me at all. It's like, I genuinely have no faith, even from this point, that there's going to be any real sense up anytime soon. We know that we need defenders, but I can genuinely see us starting the season with Longley. I can see us doing it, but just because it's just cheap.
Don't say it, brains. It's like Beetlejuice. If you say it 3 times, Longley's going to appear and then be in our back line. It's
just all an accountant's mentality. It's like, we need to balance books. We need to only be spending this much on. We can't get in until we get out. It's too stiff for this modern game, for the way other teams work. They invest when they're on the up because they have to, and then they get better. And then you look at now, I hate this idea that we just think, we're going to play front foot football, because you go and watch Brighton and they do it better, and they're not, and they play out of the back, and you can see how well drilled. You can see Gilmore going down. You can see the angles immediately they cause straight from the back. You can see the goalkeeper is drilled to the T on how to play. And before that red card came, they were bullying Chelsea.
Yeah, they were very good. They were really good.
Fast, and they play direct. And then you go and look at Villa, and they play smooth, fast, front foot, direct. And you can still see in all these teams who do it that, they concede goals. This is what it is. And they all have better defenses than us. And we're going to attempt to go into this season. Even if we bring defenders in now, they've got no chance of getting a grips to what this guy's style of play is. Yep. What we're going to camp in teams half. How are we going to dominate the ball for an entire half? How are we not going to let anyone run out of us at some point? What, in the Prem? So it's all like, it just starts to add up to be so illogical. And then when you see that we are making no moves whatsoever, in fact, we're going backwards. We lose ground when we have personal agreements.
Yeah. I think that's the gutting thing, that everyone was reporting that it was basically done between Spurs and Wolfsburg for Van de Ven, and a deal was agreed, and then it was that the next day Levy went back in. Again, I know it's not likely, but reports today saying that Spurs want Vlahovic but want him at a lower price, and it's sort of like, what
Groundhog Day, man.
what was the purpose of building this super duper stadium so that we can just go in and be tight on every single player sale? I mean, Pete, I'll come to you for this next question.
But then,
Go on, Brad.
but then you go ahead. I understand tight, and I understand a concept of strategy. But then you go ahead and get Richarlison, who's never scored more than 13 goals, and you pay 60 million for him.
Madness, absolutely madness, isn't it? It's
So
like
it's inconsistent as well.
It's absolutely madness. Just quickly, big up to Michael Hellman, who has become a new channel member. Big up to you. From next week, we will be doing channel member only shows, so a bit more of an intimate setting, more time for people to be able to ask their questions, etc. Orox Beats, big up to you. Has said, big up everyone. Come on, you Spurs. Big up Orox, always a big supporter of the channel. William Kelly has said, Ange will walk if this crap continues. Mark my words, he has done it in the past. Don't piss off the Greek. I'm Greek. Yeah, don't piss us off. Don't piss us off, all right? It's not good. We will walk. Bobby, it wasn't a super chat. I just saw this comment and thought I'd laugh. Savva, maybe I'm a bit harsh, but you and Rants disrespect Arsenal a lot. Not sure how. I said I think you'll finish top 3. I don't know why that's disrespecting you, but yeah, good luck with that, Bobby. Phil has said, if Kane leaves around the panel, who would be your one realistic placement for short-term or long-term? I'll park this. We're going to come to Kane. Has to have a spot in every single show. We'll come back to this. And another Phil, God, the Phil Army out in force, said, serious question. Why is the club not getting the deals for new defenders done? The defenders aren't overly expensive. So what's the hold up? Yeah, we'll talk about that right now. Before we do, there's 715 people in this chat and 246 likes. Guys, we put the work in, we put the energy in. All we ask is you press a like button. Like it's free. Just press a like button. It really does wonders. And let's get 10 to 15 more subscribers before the end of the show. Stop being like Levy. See, guys, it's trickled down into our fan base. This tight way of doing anything is trickled down. Pete, I think that's the point for me. This is a really good point from Phil. I understood it last year. I always use Bastoni as the marker because he was the main guy everyone waffled on about all last summer. I understood it, Pete, when we don't get a Bastoni over the line, right? I understand it when you can't get Vardial, right? These top defenders who are 70, 80, 90 million plus. But is the frustration from the Spurs fans that when we're told we're going after Mickey van der Ven, who's a 22-year-old with 1 year's experience in the German league, under 21 captain, and he might be 30 to 35 million euros, which is what, 29 million pounds, something like that. Yeah. Is that the worry that we are meant to be one of the richest, most profitable clubs in the world that moved stadium to compete, and yet we can't go and get a 29 million pound defender over the line in 4.5, 5 weeks? Is that what frustrates people, that they're not even expensive?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Van der Ven, you think, right, we're going to play a higher line. There's a defender with blistering pace for a defender, a perfect match. And as you say, the fee is right, the age is right, everything ticks Levy's so-called boxes. Yeah, but it seems now I mean, he's quite cheap really for a centre back. He hasn't got great experience, but
for a left-footed centre back,
he could be cheap. Do you know what I mean? So you think, I'm getting then. And you think now is that the box now is not the 28 million box now. I've got to untick that. That's too much money. And as you say, we've got all this infrastructure, all these events, all this money coming into the club, and we're carrying on like someone like a beggar on the A406 with the cup that walks down the traffic on the red when it's a red light. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is embarrassing. Why other clubs with half the turnover we have are spending more money, and it ain't oil money. I don't want Villa getting oil money or flogging half their squad to Saudi Arabia to pay for it. Yeah, they're just showing ambition. We don't even the owners don't put money in, but there should be money there already to do these things. And if there's not, then where's the sale? Where's the sale for these players? Why are we not selling players then and going, right, we need to sell these players quick because we need the money to buy the ones in? We're just not doing nothing. That is the worst thing, is nothing. And then you think we're going to come back, the players are all going to be knackered, and then what's then? Then we're going to be a rush on to try and get these players, and then the other clubs who we might want to buy players off are going to stick two fingers up, go, it's too late now, because we ain't got time to buy a replacement, or it's going to be more money. and then you know what Levy turned your nose up was that, and then it will be as usual. The manager wanted a certain player. What was your fourth choice, mate? I think you might end up with him, and we know full well. Just wait for the announcement. Yeah, we've re-signed Longley, and the worst thing is we'll probably sign him again on loan as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sean, as someone you've been very open in the last few weeks or so that even like your patience has really been tested. We all know I'm a really impatient git, right? You're much more patient than me. Your patience has been tested. Were you even expecting? Like, I know you're pragmatic. You're not expecting the big 70-80 million pound signings, but even someone like yourself who has backed the owners to a degree in the past, you're at least expecting them to get Van der Ven done. You're at least expecting them to go and get a 6 or you know, to be able to rip up a few contracts and give the fans something to think about. What needs to happen before everybody gets to the point where they are ENIC Levy out? What needs to happen?
I don't want it to get to that. Like I don't want to have to like contemplate the catastrophe that has to take place for everybody to march and protest. Like I'd rather it went a different direction. I want to see the owners just step up and get these deals done. Like I do want I've always been clear. Even over the last 18 months I've been doing content. I've always said I think the club these guys are taking the club as far as they can. I think the world has changed. I think the game has changed. You've got like sovereign wealth funds coming in. You've got now the League of Saudi Arabia that's just changing things. You've got FFP that's changing. And I just think that Daniel Levy's a very good guy to get blood from the stone, get enough juice from the squeeze. I know, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to sit there and go over the historical value. But the reason why people think I've always been ENIC in is not because I actually like Daniel Levy. It's because I don't like hearing irrational debates. And I've spent my time debating people who I think don't always present debates that are in favor of Levy out without stepping into irrational stages with their mindset. And I just like debate. So that's why I come across as Levy in. But in reality, I just like to pick apart people's silly narratives that don't always stand up to the test of time. But where I'm at right now is I want Tottenham to get these deals done. I think the ownership should leave, but I don't want to talk about what do we need to see collapse for us to all be Levy out. I don't want to go down that path. That's a really depressing mindset to happen. I just want Daniel Levy.
It is, Sean, but we've seen for years and years. Yeah, but the reality is that that's not happening, right? That is the reality that for years, so many of us, like Pete, I think I can speak for me and you. I mean, me and you have been in relative groups in the same groups, whether it was on Twitter or on WhatsApp, for the best part of a decade, just under a decade now. And I think I speak for us when I say I've got no problem with Daniel Levy and the owners if they start running the club properly and not for one window. I don't mean like between now and the end of the season we go and get Tapsoba and Van der Ven and everyone goes, there you go, the owners care. No, have a good window this window. Then in January, get another 2 signings. Then next summer, 3 or 4 deadwood out, 3 or 4 new faces in. Then gradually you get to the stage where 1 or 2 need to come in each window.
There will be a centre-back, mate. Let's be honest.
But that's not what I said. That's not what I've said. There will be, yes. There will be, Sean.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's got to the point now where this is happening every window. Every window, that even if they bring in a centre-back now, as you said, there's 17 games to the first game of the season. Even if they bring in a centre-back, he's not going to play tomorrow against the Lion City Sailors. I always forget their name. I want to say London, the Lion City Sailors, right? If we move quickly, he might be in for Shakhtar. Even if he plays against Shakhtar, he's not playing against Shakhtar and Barcelona. Then the season starts. So whatever centre-back you bring in now, you've got a new centre-back that's going to preferably play with Romero, right? They will have had no time together to understand how to play the high line, how to play the offside trap, who's going to sit back, who's going to marshal, who's going to be the talker. They've got no chance to learn how does the keeper work in corners. Does the keeper say, leave to me? Does the keeper say, right, you take? No time to play with their fullbacks, no time to get any cohesion with their centre mids. But what people will do now is they'll go, there you go, all that moaning, Savva. Look, we got the centre back you wanted. But again, no planning.
you've just built a case for Longley because he knows all that. He knows all these players. That's exactly what is going to happen. See, he ticks all them boxes. And
if you were betting men, like I am, I don't know if you guys are, right now.
Oh, you know I am.
I know you are, Brains, because I smashed you in bets all last summer. I mean, for the
one bet.
You still owe me
Fight and
20
talk.
quid, mate.
What was that?
You still owe me 20 quid, mate.
No, I told you I put it in your charity pot. If I did put it in a charity pot, I put it in Perch's charity pot a couple of weeks ago.
Perch needs to verify that.
I've doubled it. I put 50 quid in.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But I'll do it again, mate. I don't care. But listen, my question was: do we? Who is the centre back right now? What does our back four look like for the first game of the season against Brentford away? Pete, like what is the starting first 11 for Brentford away?
Well, the whole first 11 or just the back line?
No, just the back line. Just the back line.
Porro, Romero, Dyer, and probably Davis. I think.
Oh, you don't think we're signing anyone then?
I think we'll sign Longley, who won't get in the team. I don't think we're going to sign a player who is going to walk into the back line as a first choice player. I do not think. I think that ship sailed. I'll be very surprised if we do, because you just know it's Longley just waiting there in the winds to be done.
You have that. You're not signing either. You think we're signing nobody better than Longley this summer?
I've said it from day one, mate. I've said Longley will be back from day one. Do you know what I mean? And as I said,
depressing.
We're playing Barcelona in a week. It'll be the loser gets Longley. Do you know what I mean?
And it is depressing, but I wish that and I hope that they get VDV, because obviously as a left-footed centre back, kind of like gold right now. But even if you bring him in now, I still don't know if he makes the starting lineup for the first game. You know, because it's a lot to rush. So I end up going with Porro, Romero, Davies, and Udogie. Hopefully Udogie. You know, but yeah, I can't believe you're actually starting the season with the two with you know what Savva was saying there. The biggest travesty is that what you need before a season, for a campaign starts, is you need partnerships. You need to know who's this side of you, that side of you. What your goalkeeper needs to know who his partners are in front of him. You're gonna make mistakes.
You're spot on, mate. You're spot on. If you could go and sign the best back, like we spoke about Chelsea. Like, one of my concerns for Chelsea, not that I care about them, but it's great to see. I'd love to be a Chelsea fan. To Savva's point, it's a revolving door. It's exciting. As a content creator, you'd have something to talk about every 5 minutes. But at some point, you need to let the dust settle. You need to let them learn how to play with each other. Relationships and chemistry and all that stuff is core and key. And Tottenham, the same argument needs to happen with Tottenham. So even if you do go and get Tapsoba and Van der Ven a week before the season starts, I actually, as depressing as it is, Pete, I hope you're wrong, mate, but I can't really disagree with you right now.
He knows it's coming.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen.
Phillips, the Blackburn lad. They'll pay his little thing, and then there you go. There's your centre back, because we still got Dyer, we still got Sanchez.
There's your centre backs.
I think, but that's the key thing, isn't it? That is the key thing. By the way, people, smash those like buttons. It's 308 likes, 742 of you in the house. Smash the like. It's free. I don't understand. The first thing I do when I go on a stream, boom, smash the like. Please subscribe if you can. Thank you to the 3 people that have. Subscribe to Sean, who's absolutely kicking backside at the moment on his channel, and subscribe to Brains as well. Somebody will be kind enough to put the links in the chat. But I think that's the key thing. Whoever just said that, whether it was, well, one of you 3, I've got a 33% chance here. One of you said it, that it's that you know it's coming. That's the horrible thing, isn't it? Like, I would love nothing more as a content creator to be sitting here right now as of 18 days, 17 days of the season to go, and say, do you know what, guys, got in the playmaker, got in your number 1, got in the 2 centre-backs, bought in the DM, go on, off you go. Really happy. Great work. Brilliant. But as usual, less than 3 weeks to go to the season starts, and people are going, don't worry, don't panic, there's still time. But you know, what will happen is the first 4, 5, 6, 7 games is now not going to be, right, we're ready to go. It's going to be, right, let's learn how to play with each other. let's build those partnerships and those relationships. So you might as well write off the first half of this season, if I'm brutally honest.
Oh, yeah.
You know what the sad thing is our players will know more about the airline safety routine with the old fucking seatbelt and all that and the life jacket than they actually will about what Postecoglou wants from them.
Right.
They've spent more time watching that than anything he's been able to do, the poor git.
Yeah, mate, it's absolutely ridiculous.
On a life jacket and a seatbelt and where the exits are than actually what Postecoglou's plan is for the team.
Yeah, I mean, guys, aren't we? I mean, the shame of this is when it starts to go wrong, which it inevitably will if we don't fix up soon. After the first 10, 15 games, Postecoglou is going to be getting it in the ear, isn't it? Postecoglou is going to be getting it in the ear from the same fans that are demanding new signings. He's going to be getting it in the ear, even if we play good football. People are going to be giving it in the ear that, oh my God, look where we were this time. We're 10th at the moment. He goes, new manager comes in. We start this all over again. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss, Brains. Give me some sanity.
You know what the most, the harshest thing for Ange is that he's got this incredible record. And I feel bad for him because
he had this incredible record.
Everywhere
we're the place where records go to die.
yeah. Careers go to die. We're the graveyard for managers. But like everywhere he's gone, he's actually, because he's carried a good record, he's been given like his say. At Celtic, he was allowed to bring 9 people in, 9 signings, and a pre-season. And guess what happened? They still stuttered and struggled and had frailties everywhere because he had a lot to do.
He's a slow starter.
He's a slow starter. It's gonna so like the idea, like what you're saying, Savva, that it's gonna take till next year. It really is, and that's just that's an unfortunate, foregone conclusion. It's like he is trying to do something, and you can kind of see when he's got players who have been here for a little bit of time, like the players who he worked with in the second half of that West Ham game. He worked a little bit longer with them, and they're really just cogs, and they've obviously just taken to what he said, but not talking about the defense, just as in dominating the ball in an opponent's half. He needs so much more time to deal with because you can see he's only focused on ball, moving fast, movements, people where they move, cut through the passing lanes, hasn't dealt with what happens when the ball gets turned over. Where does every one of them go when they fall into defensive formations? Like, who takes the initiative? Like a lot of the times in that, it was easy to go in the first half to go, Basuma is looking out of this world here. And he was, but not for a 6, because a 6 in the Prem, and when we get turned over, he's up there almost scoring goals. He's playing in the 8 when he was playing in the 6. He'll get turned over. That defense will be so light. It will be so light. The speed that defense, and if you are saying that you don't have Van de Ven and he really likes a left-sided centre back, you're saying Davies is going to be going that way, or Dyer even worse, going that way? Wow.
I think that, listen, this is the key thing for me. What I don't get is, right, it's not rocket science. If I am the owner of a business and I employ a manager, I'll stick with the football. I don't even need to go to business. If I employ a manager whose game is about a high line, the first thing I'm going to do is help him with the high line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's like we go to every position but what will help with a high line. And somebody made a good point about 100 comments ago in the chat. Not having the new defenders in straight away puts loads of pressure on the goalkeeper who's new. Yeah. It's going to put loads of pressure on Basuma in front of him, or Skip, or whoever plays in front of him, the pressure on them as well, because they're going to, right, straight away, we've not got the pieces of the jigsaw that fit. Straight away, we're going into yet another season. Last year, as much as I don't like Conte and his football, another year where we went in with a manager who needs centre-halves. I'm never going to like his football, by the way. I will always caveat this. But another manager that needs centre-halves that are comfortable on the ball to play a more defensive game where you play out from the back. Don't deal with that. But it was all right. We got a wing back he didn't want. We got a striker that sat on a bench all season. You've got a 33-year-old wing back. Again, we're not learning. We're not learning, and I've got a feeling this could be really, really tough this season. I think we're going to enjoy the football, but I'm buckling myself in.
I was okay with that, mate. I was always okay with that. If you go back, you scoon back, and I'll ask you whether you were as well. Like, if you shoot back to 2 months ago when Conte had gone and we were thinking about what's going to happen next, if you refresh your memory around what you wanted out of what was coming, for me, the second that it was Postecoglou, I was like, you know what? I will tolerate. Oh, in fact, I was tolerating it for a long time. I want to see good football first. I think we're so far away from winning a trophy. We always were under Conte. We always were. We always were going to be as well. This season, I think, is a rebuild. I've said it from the start. We're going to smash some teams out of the park. We're going to get absolutely destroyed by a couple of teams as well. We're probably going to end up 8th. Somewhere around where we finished this year, 8th, 9th, 7th, somewhere around that. I'm okay with it. But what I'm not okay with is Daniel Levy not giving him the tools to let him hit the ground running. If you're setting him up to fail, then that's unacceptable. And that is what I'm seeing. But even if he gets the centre-backs he needs, I would still expect us to struggle this season. There's so many other teams.
Sean, that's what I was going to say to you. When you said that, I thought, yeah, I agree with you. I'm with you, mate. You and I were one of the first two in the streams to be saying, listen, strap in. Next year's going to be a bumpy ride. Mm-hmm. But that was on the proviso. Even if we did get the players we need, we thought it was going to be a bumpy ride, right?
Yeah.
Now, at the moment, the reality, not the proviso, the actual start reality is that we haven't got the players we need, and it's going to be even bumpier because I can see us scoring for fun. I'm not worried about that. I said that the other day. I'm not worried. I can see us.
Kane goes.
I see us scoring. We'll talk about that in a minute. I see us scoring just as many goals if Kane goes. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, same.
I see us scoring loads. I just think, like Brain said, the turnover. Imagine you got Davis at left back or Reggie at left back, right? Two people who can't defend. Jury's out on the doge. You have not seen enough of him as a defender being tested, right? You got Dyer or David. Pick whichever one of them you want, or Romero. None of them are quick. Any ball that goes over the top. If I'm a manager playing against Spurs, I'm saying play that through ball. I'm playing my quickest player through the middle. I don't care if they normally play there. I'm playing my quickest player through the middle, like a Raheem Sterling or whatever. And I'm saying, right, every time we get the ball, play that ball. The way Spurs used to with Kane and Son, play that ball through the middle. And that's what's worrying me, Sean, is we are.
Like, there's no chance we are. Whilst I can see where Pete was coming from when he says, "Oh, I think Longley's going to be the only signing." I'm not going to. I can see it being a possibility, but I am going to lean into the glass half full guy that I will always try to be.
Here he is. Here he is.
He's back.
So contrarian strikes again.
Right, hang on. Right, Sean, go. Tell us why we're winning the league.
Listen, Tottenham are not going to start this season with Clement Longley as our only recognised signing. It's not going to happen. It's not, as much as I can see it as a possibility, I don't think it's the probability. I think that Pete has got his glass half empty hat on, and I can see why he might think that way. But we are only ever, like Tottenham are always only ever 2 signings away from greatness. And this time around, we are 3 signings away from greatness. I think we need a 6 and 2 centre-backs, and I do think we're going to get 2 of those 3 done before the window starts. And even if it means we're going to struggle in the first quarter of the season, I think we were going to struggle anyway. I think Tottenham's opening 5-6 games. I made a claim. I think we were going to get 7 to 9 points out of the first 15. I don't think we're going to, or the first 18. I think we're going to struggle regardless. Yes, it would be ideal to get them in earlier to give them time to adjust. But I'd rather get them in late than not get them in at all. And I still have hope that Daniel Levy will eventually get in a Taparoo or a Van der Ven or someone like him, maybe a Tosin Adebayo. And as long as we end up with the season with better centre-backs than we have, then I will still hold true to the idea that as the season goes on, we will get stronger, much like Nottingham Forest did last year. I'm okay with that.
But listen, Sean, I'll come to Brains now, and then after that, we're going to do the Harry Kane piece. But for me, it was never. I'm not in doubt that we're going to buy a centre half. I've never been in doubt we're going to buy one. Just as the window's gone on, my doubt has been what is the quality of that centre half, because we've gone from oh my God, we're going to sign Tapsoba, Van der Ven. We're going to have them two and Romero. We're sorted. We only need 2. We'll have 3 there anyway. Absolutely brilliant. 2. Tosin Adebayo. Okay, yeah, he's okay. Okay, he's okay. Clement Longley. Nelson, who you've said yourself, like, meh, right? Harry Maguire's name gets mentioned. You start looking at all these players now where I go, oh my God, we're going to sign 2 really bad players, aren't we?
We ain't paying up for Harry Maguire, mate. Like, there's no chance. Come on.
Sean, I bet you 20 quid now that Longley will be the primary centre-back we buy.
Take that.
I'll take that all day long.
And
50 quid. 50 quid. You think Longley's going to be the primary? I'm not saying that we might sign him. But you're saying the primo we're going to get him.
Yeah, the best one out of the lot we buy.
50 quid. Do you want to stretch it to 50?
If you're confident, you take 100.
20 quid. 20 quid.
Oh, 20 quid. 20 quid's fine. 20 quid.
No one's confident here.
No, I'm confident. I'll step it up. Brains, you want a slice of that pie?
You want some of this?
Yeah. Just quickly.
I'm losing money if I'm betting on that. I'm straight up losing money unless I go with Sean.
I've got a couple of comments I need to read out on the super chats. KJD said, Savva, you said earlier that Harry Redknapp came in and turned things around mid-season, quick time. So maybe Ange will do the same. Just changing the manager should give us a 10% uplift. I think the difference was, KJ, at that time, our defence wasn't as atrocious as it is now. Harry Redknapp came in and made some very astute signings in terms of Wilson Palacios that he got quite cheap from Wigan, if you remember. Nico Cranshaw. He made some good... Modric moved into the middle. Bale moved from left back to left wing. He brought in Jermaine Defoe. Nowadays, I don't know if you pick up those players for 8 or 9 million like you used to. And we had Ledley King at the back. Right, if you remember, we had Michael Dawson. It wasn't as atrocious as it is now. So I see big similarities between Redknapp and Postecoglou, but to play Postecoglou's football, which it can be suicide football at times, you've got to have those quick defenders in there. Super chats, just really, really quickly. Phil Pearce coming with another one and said, great debate. Respect Sean, Brains, Pete, and Savva. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Elvis G, great name, great picture. I said, we are all trapped in Spurgatory. Very good. I like that. Orox Beats, I said, Savva, please show everyone the meme I sent you. I'm not going to show it. Mari, big up from Tottenham Away. I said, I feel bad for Big Ange. No one can change Daniel Levy and the board methods except for Daniel Levy. Not Ange, Conte, Jose, Poch, even the great Pep. Absolutely. And Brian Brown, welcome to the channel, has said we'll probably sell Kane on the last day of the transfer window, get a £25 million defender on the last day as well. And Levy will say he did all he could do. Many a true word said in jest, so don't say that too loud. Look, just before we come on to the Harry Kane debate, guys and girls, you have been super tight today. Smash the like button. We should be on 500 likes by now, and we should be getting some subscribers. There's 704 of you in the chat, and I fail to believe that all 704 have subscribed. Smash that like subscribe button and subscribe to Spurs Talk Show as well. He is flying. Guys, let's move this on.
Savva, just before you move on, I was just going to say that there is, to try and not be completely and utterly depressed by the whole scenario. One of the positives, or a couple of positives you could take out of it, is that we know that it's going to struggle. It's going to be horrifying at the back. So that's one of the things that's like, every time we go into a season and everyone knows it's so clear that we need to get new centre back. So there's something that we need to change. And then then it doesn't. It just keeps driving more towards the Levy out. Like if we start this, if we go like a whole half of a season and we can just see it's like, it's all about the failings of what the transfer window had, then it's hard for Levy. The songs are going to keep raining out. Daniel Levy, get out of our club every single game. Like Ange is going to be clear because he's already started to say, like, we need centre backs in. He's already started to say it. No one is going to be able to get away from the fact of like, why didn't Spurs get the centre backs in? So it's all going to come back down to Levy again. So it's
I'll stop you there. The main problem with that, and I agree, it makes about the first 3 games is already sold out. So as far as he's concerned, everything's cushy, mate.
Everything's fine. Yeah, this is it. Everything's fine. Sold out.
In his world, yeah, everything is fine. He will never see it
only,
from a fan perspective.
Cares, yeah, because they'll just turn the music up, mute them. We won't worry about them. There'll be another 200 people if you're lucky, not even that outside. Yeah, the rest of them will be steaming in, can't get their wallet out quick enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is the reality. That's what he's seeing now. With all this going on now, we've got the Kane scenario. We've got no centre backs. We played one pre-season game, yet he sold out the first 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, guys and girls, we're going to go for another 17 minutes. We are going to finish bang on 9:30. Otherwise, we'll be labouring the points. Listen, guys, it wouldn't be a Spurs show without talking about Harry Kane. We said this all the back end of the last season, Sean. We said that this is going to be the #1 transfer story in the world. It still is the #1 transfer story. Mbappe's trying to upscale it. Declan Rice is trying to outbeat it. This is the #1 topic. I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a video flying around. I can't remember who did it, but there's a couple of guys that broke it down. They went right into detail and broke down this myth. All right, and the myth is this. For all the people that say, keep Kane for 1 year, yeah, even if he goes on a free but gets us into the Champions League, it's made the money back, right? And they've basically broken down to show that this is to use one of Sean's favourite words, this is a fallacy. This is a fallacy. This is not true.
Basically, as well.
No. I can't do it. I practice my Sean every night, but that wasn't it. I don't, Sean. Basically, what they did was they broke down the amount of money you get each year for participating in the Champions League based on where you finish in the Champions League that year. Yeah. And I said,
if you qualify out of the group, you make 60, right? 65.
Well, if you play in the group stages, where Spurs have been knocked out, like where we were knocked out this year, you make 62 million euros, right? So when you put that into pounds, whatever, right? If you make a couple centre backs. If you make it to the groups, get knocked out of the groups, it's something like 43 million euros.
From right? What? Does that include the additional TV money? Does that include the additional sponsorship?
This is everything that you get. This is everything. They broke it down, all the clever charts, all this, they broke it down, everything, right? And you get 102 million for getting to the final, right? So they broke it down and said this myth that if you keep Kane and he gets us back into the Champions League, that the money is worth it.
That's true, mate.
Listen, I've seen so many people talk. Listen, we can go into it
because like there's incidental money, right? You get more money from sponsorships that they're never going to know the details of the sponsorship deals that you have. Like there's loads of different incidental ways that you make money from Champions League exposure that is not necessarily prize money.
Sure, but that's not going to be huge, is it? It's not going to be huge money. This is Tottenham we're talking about, right? It's not going to be huge money. Right, but listen,
it depends. It depends on how well you do in the group stages, right? If you win every single game and you qualify, then you make far more money than if you qualified. But
hang on, we're going off topic. They're showing what we made each year. They're showing the money Spurs made every year that we've been in the Champions League, and the most was 102 million the year that we finished in the final. Yeah. So basically, the only way that it is cost effective to keep Kane and let him go on a free next year rather than take 100 million euros as the base number is if the next year we get to the final of the Champions League.
And he wouldn't be there for it anyway. Right?
And he wouldn't be there anyway for it. So the chances that, right, okay. So this was the point of the video was it makes sense to sell him. There is nothing about keeping him that makes sense if he doesn't want to be here. Pete, I know Sean's opinion. I'll come to Sean last. No offense, Sean, but I know your opinion on this more than the others. Pete, I'll come to you then, Brains. Harry Kane, Pete, I'm at the stage now where I just think I want him gone. If he doesn't want to sign a contract, get rid of him, get as much money as possible. Where are you with the Kane saga?
I'm in the same boat. I think just if it's going to be done, do it. My only concern is when we do it, if we're going to do it. Like, I don't want it to be, 2 days before the end of the window, and because Levy will take the money, and we stitch up the manager even more than we've stitched him up already. Do you know what I mean? So there's got to be a deadline to it where you say, right, nothing's come in, so then he's got to stay, and we've got to live with it, because I think the damage to next season, losing him, as well as probably not getting in the centre backs and all the rest of it. I've already said it in the group, in our little group. I said if that happens, the season, if the window ends like it is now, plus Harry Kane going, he will be gone by Christmas, and we'll be looking for another manager because it will just completely unravel, and it won't be his fault, but that's just the way it will be. So we cannot allow that to happen. If we're gonna, Daniel Levy's got to be realistic on his price. He can't be asking for 120 million or all this nonsense. He's got to set a realistic price. I think Kane's silence is speaking volumes because they've not wheeled him out for any press, anything like that. He's basically nowhere to be seen apart from on the pitch. No, they don't.
But what would hang on, Pete? I want to challenge you there. What would you want Harry Kane to say? What would they wheel him out?
What I'm saying is, I don't want him. I'm saying, but the fact that they won't, the club are hiding him basically. Yeah,
of course they are.
Yeah, because so that tells you that he's basically saying, I'm out of here, and they're just waiting for an offer to come along. But as I've said previously in our little group, is that what if you're Bayern Munich, you're not going to put that money in now. You're going to wait till Spurs are desperate to sell him and will take anything rather than let him go for nothing. So then they're going to wait, and that's where Levy's got to go. Well, there's got to be a bit in between here where I can't let him go too late, where I can't get anyone else in the door, because we cannot start this season with Richarlison as our. To be honest, I don't want him as our reserve striker because he's shit, but as our main striker, it's a recipe for disaster. So there's got to be a point where this cuts off and goes right. It can't go anymore. We have to stop. But by all means, take the money if it comes.
So let me just, while I'm still with you, Pete, you did mention just now, and you had a different opinion to myself and Sean. I don't know the opinion of Brains on this, but Sean and I are of the opinion that we're not worried about scoring goals. I think we'll score goals regardless. I think we'll score just as many goals without Harry Kane. Why don't you think we will?
Because I just don't think there's enough goals in the team. Son might score a couple, but bear in mind a lot of these goals come from Harry Kane assists. I know we've got Maddison now, but Harry Kane's were like flick-ons and stuff like that, where no one else to provide that. Kulusevski don't score that many. Richarlison, he struggled to get a nosh in Magaluf. We've seen how poor he is in front of goal. Yeah, and he started this pre-season like he finished last season. I don't see where the goals are coming from. It's not like Arsenal where they spread the goals around quite a lot. I just don't see it in the team, and that's the worry for me.
Well, we're spreading our goals around like Flora this year, mate.
Yeah, what I don't understand about it is I feel when people say things like that, Pete, I feel like we're talking about how we played under Conte. The Conte system allowed it to just be Kane. It was everything was based around Kane. Postecoglou's formation, they're all going to be in the box. When we attack, you can have 5 or 6 players in the box, not just Kane and Son. Maddison scores double figures every season. Son will have a much better season this season. We do. With an attacking manager, he is. If he's not being, listen, as much as I'm not going to go down the whole world-class thing again, but as much as I don't think the guy's world-class, he's a finisher. The number of chances we will create in this new system, Maddison, Manor Solomon, Porro, Kulusevski, Son, will bring someone else in. They won't be to Kane's 30 goals. We'll bring someone else in. I just think the system didn't allow anyone else to get forward enough to get in the box and get themselves 7 or 8 goals. That's my argument towards it.
And also the other caveat to that is if we don't get the centre-backs, we'll probably concede more than we score.
Sure.
We have to have that problem. So that's what I'm saying. That recipe, all of it together, I think is a disaster waiting to happen. So going back to what I said, I'd sell him. I'm happy to sell him. The offer's got to come in, but there's got to be a point where we say, right, we can't sell him now because it's just going to stitch up the manager. We have to protect the manager as well. To lock him out like we did with Berbatov and get a Fraser Cameron on loan, we can't be doing that. He's already been stitched up.
It needs to be the next 2 weeks, doesn't it? It needs to be. It needs to be very, very soon so that it gives us at least a fight. That then gives us 30. I mean, from today, it gives us 35 days of the window left to go and get other forwards. Yeah,
bear in mind, it's took 3 years to buy a replacement creative midfielder. We still ain't bought a centre half to match Jan and Toby yet, so we don't have a history of going out and buying what we need straight away. I mean, no matter what money we got.
Who said Kane isn't world class? By the way, did anyone on this panel say it?
No.
No, just checking. All right, Brains, where are you at with this? I mean, look, I just feel like I don't think it's the great big drama that every other Spurs fan thinks it is. I almost feel now that we can actually come together and be a team rather than having this drama every single window about Harry Kane. But yeah, I don't have emotions, so
I agree. Like like we were saying the other day, it's like never been a good time to sell Kane, but of now is probably the best of all times because it's a change of style of football. I would say 90 plus add-ons gets him, and if it doesn't, then it's just insane. Because you're going to lose that asset. He's going to walk away probably to one of your competitors, and he's going to be turning up at our ground, scoring hat-tricks against us. 4, maybe 5 goals against us every time he turns up with our defense. But also there's interesting things that are happening, like just to the point of like where the goals are going to come from. I watched the open training today, and it's actually there was part of me is kind of like, wow, I can't believe they're actually showing as much as they are here. Like they showed a lot of the attacking drills. They showed high pressing, they showed recovery of the ball, and they showed this drill, which is just about moving through the line, getting it in the center, basically Ange ball, just 100% Ange ball, like that the quintessential what Ange ball is. And it was interesting to see that Sonny was playing in the wide, like the traditional wing, so not inside cutting in, hitting on his right. He wasn't there. He was playing on that, that wing, get to the byline, cut back. And you saw that like the amount of times it was, because they were obviously rotating. So you'd have Son or you'd have Solomon, you'd have Kane or you'd have Richie in the center. The amount of times Richie, there's no defenders in this drill. It's just like the kind of two stands of defenders, the kind of like, boards. No defenders there. And sure enough, Vicario made some decent saves, but Richie was not scoring. He was missing.
He's not a goal scorer. I agree.
He was missing from 6 yards. Meanwhile, Kane was hammering in the different drills. Kane was hammering in volleys from the corner of the box. It's like, you can imagine if you were Ange just standing there going, oh my God. But then you'd have to have him remember that Son could easily be the 9 and Solomon can. So I think you do get goals, but I don't think you rely on Richie at all. I think you have Son in the center, you have Solomon on, and then you've got potential goals from Solomon. Because I think Solomon's got goals in him, by the way.
I agree with you. I
think you got Kulu will have a better season. You think he'll put some in, or he'll have a way more assists. You'll get from Madison. You might get from whoever the 8 is, if it's whoever it is. But I definitely agree with Pete that you're not going to get anything like the output of a Kane unless.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you takes that money, and this is what I mean about the deal. Whatever happens, it happens. But it's got to happen now. You let him go, because I also think Kane, this thing with Kane is holding up everything as well.
I agree.
If they sell Kane for 19 plus add-ons, there is no reason, there is no excuse for not going out and just getting the priority targets. I think you get the defenders. You probably get like the necessary CDM to do that job right, and then maybe you fill it with some other little players. But I for the life of me, if you don't have to go and get a player and spend all the money on a Kolomuani or a Vlahovic who's going to be 50, 60, and he's also had a bit of a tough season he's a decent player. Evan Ferguson, you're not going to get. So I would just go and get Kyogo, who scored 34 goals last season. If you watch his goals, if you watch the genius of what it is to be a goal-scoring play, like a player who pops up every time where that ball is, people think, oh, he's just a tap-in merchant. It's like, do you understand the genius of the tactics of how he would float off sign, distract the defenders, have them thinking he's not danger. Then all of a sudden he's not the target, bang the balls in the center, and he's scoring every single week. I don't understand for the life of me why we won't just go pick up that guy for 12 million. Then you've got Son as your starter, him as your backup. That's a 34 goal striker as your backup. And Richie can just go do one, because he's never going to have an output that is what we need is in this club.
No, listen, I agree with you. I agree with Pete's sentiment as well that, we will concede goals. And that we all know that, right? Until we sort the defence out, we're going to concede goals. I just think that the last two managers have really held back any chance of any midfielders getting forward and scoring goals. I've never seen such a negative wing back formation as what I saw under Conte. When I watch other wing backs, when I watch Bayer Leverkusen play with their wing backs are just bombing forward. They're always joining in. You watch Spurs play it and you're like, our wing backs go to the halfway line and then go, oh, don't know what to do. Give it to Kane. And I just think Ange will solve that. But listen, it's all good fun. Sean, I'll let you have the last word before we wrap up tonight. Look, the Kane thing is just, it's now getting so tedious, isn't it? I'll be honest, I'm at the stage where I want him gone. I just want him gone. I'm bored of it.
Yeah.
Already being handcuffed in like, it's just, it weighs you down.
Do you know what's weird though? Do you know what's also weird? That no Saudi Arabian teams come in with a bid, considering his contract situation, because he'd be a superstar out there. None of them have turned up and offered silly money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just
not yet.
I'm bored of it. I'm also a little bit disappointed that Harry Kane hasn't had a word with his agents to have a word with the people that are trying to push the issue. Like the nonsense is coming out of Germany. If you're not condemning it, you're condoning it as a player. And for me, I feel like he has the amount of sway to be able to say, oh, put a lid on it. You got your chairman, your CEO, your director, your president. You got every single top tier journalist in Germany, either telling stories that don't need to be told or making things up to try to lean into the pressure game. And it's disrespectful. What will be, will be. I want it done and dusted. I've said it a million times before. I feel like there is no better system for Tottenham to be adopting where we will feel the impact of losing Kane least than how we will under Postecoglou. I'm okay with it. Get him gone. Get the players in. What I'm worried about far more than Harry Kane right now is how many bets I have made in the last 3 days that I don't remember.
I'll remind you, don't worry.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, listen, it's all well and good. Floyd, you can say Kane isn't going anywhere, but just remember this. If we're happy to let him go on a free, cool, stay for another year. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. So this time next year, when you see Harry Kane signing for Chelsea, signing for Liverpool, signing for Man U, whoever, fill in the blank, don't then go, oh my God, I can't believe Kane's done this to us. Because some of our fan base wanted that. If you want Kane,
he's going one way or the other. He's going.
Yeah, mate, I agree. He's going. He's the maximum we've got left in Kane is 1 year. Yeah, but if he stays that year, mate, I agree. But the maximum we've got him for is a year. Then he goes on a free. If he goes on a free, any fan that said just keep him for that year can't then complain next year when they see him.
As long as the price. This is back to the point you made about the guy Tifo Football putting out a video. I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it. But if the argument was that this idea that Tottenham should reject the £100 million bid because you're better off keeping it if it qualifies for the Champions League, I don't think anyone was making that argument. But there is a price that is far below 100, where there is that kind of, you roll the dice on it. And I think it's about 60 million quid. And I stand by it. I've crunched numbers just like maybe Tifo have. I've looked into the financial side of Champions League football and what it brings in, not just in campaign prize money, but what it brings in TV money, what it brings in sponsorship, what it pays out in bonuses, all of that stuff. And what it also draws in potential attractiveness. There's a whole bunch of other factors outside of it. And to me, if the bid was to be at £60 million or lower, I will stand by my statement. And if it disagrees with Tifo, then fair enough. If Tifo's making the point, though, that you shouldn't reject the £100 million bid, of course, but no one's making that argument. At 60 million or 50 million, if that's what the bid was at, then you could make the argument that it's worth rolling the dice. Above 60, you're on the dance floor where you're in the Goldilocks.
All the noises coming out are that Bayern are preparing a bid and it's going to be in the region of 85 million pounds sterling.
Okay,
if that's the case,
I'm happy to take that. 85 million.
That should get done. If that is the case, that comes in, then it's got to be done. That's what he really wants. But it just can't keep rolling on.
No, you can't
keep rolling on because I feel sorry for the manager because he's the one who gets asked all the questions. He's got to deal with it.
Yeah, so he's already feeling the heat, though, isn't he? Have you seen him? You've seen like he's already feeling like he's a bit worn out by
he's
the.
Pissed off. I can't. We had some dickhead turn up with a shirt with Kane on the back. He don't need to be dealing with that crap.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's been flown around the world. He's been drowned. You know what I mean, it's and all he's trying to do is get the biggest job that he's got so far is get off to a positive start, and all he's got is crap. Let's be honest. He's been absolutely stitched up. He's getting no help from those above, and then. In the meantime, he's preparing for a season.
Can you imagine if he quits?
Yeah, I said before, I could see him gone before Christmas. It goes really tits out the window.
And then what do we do?
Well, we've run out of win now managers to go for, haven't we? So we'll be God knows where we'll go.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, Floyd, listen, I'm all for it. I'm just saying, keep this same energy when he walks on a free. Because the thing for me, mate, is this. It's all well and good Spurs fans saying, listen, I'm someone who hates Daniel Levy. It's all well and good us saying, oh, let's let Kane prove a point to Levy. But I'm a Spurs fan. I want what's best. I want what's best for Tottenham Hotspur, not what's best for Harry Kane, right? All the while he's in a Spurs shirt, I love him, right? I love Harry Kane. The moment he leaves this club, I'm not going to go like people will go, oh, I'll follow Kane. No, the moment he goes, he's gone. He's gone. I'll worry about what's going on in our own garden, right? I'm not worried about them next door. So I think, look, just keep that energy. As Sean was taking receipts yesterday about the prices, remember, Sean, of what people would be happy to sell him for?
Yeah.
I've always said, I think £85 million gets you to the table, and then you can decide all the add-ons and all that kind of nonsense stuff. But I think the fee will be 85 million plus something, and I'd take it. But hey, it is what it is. Listen, Pete, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate. It's been a long time.
Yeah, pleasure. Good rabbit.
Good. Brains, thanks, mate. Listen, hopefully you're coming on again. Hope you enjoyed it.
Worries. Yeah, it's good times. So I mean, we're all saying similar things, maybe just in different ways, but. Yeah, I mean, disappointed with Sean not being as much as a contrarian, but I can see he's being
worn down. He's being worn down.
He's worn out his
no, I'm going to be a contrarian tomorrow. I'm going to go and watch that Tifo video, and I'm going to go and bring out my rebuttal because Tifo said it doesn't make it the fact. All right.
Right. So you all know what Sean's walk with Bugsy's going to be about tomorrow, don't we? He'll have the spreadsheet in this hand, the lead in that hand. You know what I mean? You'll have to pay someone to hold the camera for you. Listen, everyone in the chat, thank you. It's been really good tonight. I don't think we've had a single troll. It's been absolutely amazing. We've had over 700 odd people. Listen, I will say, please, on your way out, smash that like button. Please subscribe as I chase down 8,000. That's not a number. 8,000. Yeah, I know. Spurs have worn me down too. Thank you to everyone. Sean and I are off to order our DH Gate shirts with Levy out on the back. And thank you to everyone. I've redirected. If anyone's in here, I'm going over to Southview Coys to lend them a hand. So you can follow me. I've redirected you there. Please stay. Show those boys some support. Much love, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.